Welcome to North Wilkesboro Speedway, deep in the heart of NASCAR country. This track is the oldest NASCAR venue in existence today. Unfortunately, no longer used, but thankfully, because of iRacing, we are able to bring it to you on the virtual stage for the second time in the Darkmatter Designs Cup Series history. We are returning to North Wilkesboro Speedway. I'm joined in the booth this time by Chris Speer. Chris, this is a historic track. It's the 1987 version of the track, but we have 2021 cars out there today.
We certainly do, and it makes for some exciting racing here, Jared. These cars not really expected to be at this kind of track. This is a little bit similar to New Hampshire with the flatness of this track, but down here, there is no apron in the corners. You could really tear up a car here.
You're exactly right, Chris, and this is a very difficult track, one of the most difficult tracks we'll face all year long, and these guys already starting out qualifying right now. You'll see them down at the bottom of your screen, but let's take a look at the race information here. Here, the Holly Farms 250, it is 79 degrees. Air temp, 91 track temp, very racy conditions, cloudy, winds out of the southeast at 6 miles an hour, so that's going to be something to keep an eye on. This track is 6/10-ish of a mile around this place, opened in 1947, 13-degree turns, and we expect the pit window somewhere between 75 and 85 laps if we go green all night long, Chris. And we take a look at our championship battle. We had Ralph Nolan Jr. punch his ticket last week. Here's the normal standings. Bobby Terrell leading the way there. And we take a look at the playoff drivers, and a little bit different look there, as now only 3 spots remain open in that championship spot. 5 races to go, Chris.
5 races to go, 3 spots guaranteed. We can still have more winners than we have playoff spots here, Jared.
And don't forget, Brody Hanna has a win, but he's outside the top 25. So if he's able to get in the top 25 and maintain that, that is another playoff spot that would evaporate very, very quickly for these drivers. We got some drivers out on the track right now. Dean Doucette taking his lap. He finished 3rd last week at New Hampshire. And you see that number 29 machine there now. And we'll bring up our the NASCAR tower there and show you what the lap times are looking like. Troy Torgerson in the 98 with the best lap at an 18.23, followed by Bernard Persson right behind him, and Bobby Terrell, your top 3 right now. And Doucette, he completes his lap, but he wrecks it, so he's not going to be able to get a second lap in as the 29 machine wrecks across the line there. And we are have a little bit of time left in qualifying. Brody Hanna late coming into the server, and he wrecks it on his opening lap. I don't think he's taken a lap, so he's going to have to reset and try again. And I believe he's the last one here to take a lap tonight, Chris. And we got 32 drivers. That's the exact amount of pit stalls that are available at this track. Otherwise, they would have had to share them like they did last time they were here.
Yeah, so that's going to be a great advantage for these drivers not having to share a pit stall here. It's a little bit hard to do so, and it just kind of gives you a little bit of confusion if you're pitting all at once.
Exactly right, Chris. And these guys will definitely have a challenge out here tonight at North Wilkesboro. We take a look at Brody Hanna making his lap right now, completing his out lap, I should say. Only 2 other drivers haven't taken a time yet. That's Tracy Powers and Wayne Grossi. Unsure if they will do so. Actually, Brody Hanna is just going to take the 1 lap there, and that's going to be it for him. And we're just kind of in a holding pattern here with about 20-something seconds to go here in qualifying.
Kind of shows how eager these drivers are to get out on the track here, Jared, as pretty much everyone hopped in the car as soon as they were able to go make their lap time.
This is a big track for these drivers, and it's kind of a, it's a historic track. I mean, there's no denying that, but it's also kind of a track where drivers are kind of glad to be back racing here. It's the heart of NASCAR. It's the home of NASCAR, and it's nice to see it on the schedule. But Chris, coming into tonight's race, we had some announcements that came down the pipeline, the news wire, if you will. Randy McCanney, who had left Take-Two Motorsports after that team dissolved, he has joined up with Frontline Esports, Jeff Winter and Jeff Chandler. That's going to be huge, just in time for the playoffs.
Definitely huge, as that team has already been looking strong throughout this entire season. Now they've got another driver just to add to that lineup. It's going to be tough to beat those guys if they're all able to work together.
Exactly right, Chris. And we are in our warm-up session now, and let's see if we can bring in somebody in to talk to and see if we can get a word in. We're looking for Ralph Nolan Jr., but I don't know where he is. So we won't be able to grab last week's winner, unfortunately. But Chris, you got these guys out here for warm up. They'll have about 3 minutes to do some laps here. And while they're doing that, we're going to go ahead and take a commercial break, and we will be back for the starting lineup.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled lands of the free and the home of the brave.
All right, we are back live here at North Wilkesboro Speedway where these drivers are lining up on the grid, about ready to get this thing going, and we are going to have your starting lineup here for the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Starting on the pole is Troy Torgerson in the number 98, 4 thousandths of a second faster than Bernard Person. That's all it took. Row number 2 will be Bobby Terrell and Chuck Sweeting. Row 3, Richie Coy and Rachel Hunt. Row 4, Chad Lang and Kenneth Schultz. And rounding out your top 10, Chris, is Kevin Rupert and Brian Helm.
In that 6th row, you got Dean Doucette and Josh Mayhew. Behind them in row 7, TJ Bartell and Randy McKinney. In the 8th row, John Held and Jason Speer. The 9th row, Gil Gott and Sherwood Williford. Row 10 is going to be Bill Benedict III and Lane Allen, rounding out your top 20.
Look back at row number 11, Case McMullen, the highest driver in points without a victory yet this year. Can he get it done? Lane Allen alongside him. Andrew Polisky alongside him. Row number 12 will be Donnie Stobbits and Matt Geringer. Row 13, Dale Nearat and Brody Hanna. Row 14, Adam Newton and Ralph Nolan, last week's winner. And rounding out your field is Tony Solari, Stephen Vrooman, and Wayne Grossi and Tracy Powers. Pace car about to make its move down to pit road as we are about ready to get this thing underway here. And Chris, I have to say it's going to be an exciting event here tonight, and I'm more excited to see how the playoffs are going to shake up after this one. As the pace car pulls off, Torgerson and Bernard Person will lead him down to the green flag, and the green flag is out here at Wilkesboro.
Green flag's out, and Torgerson gets a good jump into 1, gets ahead of Person pretty easily. Now Person falls in back behind him, headed into 3.
And there you go. These drivers all over the track already. Torgerson's going to hold down the bottom line, and coming across the line on our drone camera is going to be Troy Torgerson, followed by Bernard Person and Bobby Terrell in 3rd place.
These guys working really hard here to be able to get single file here back throughout the pack, just because no one here wants to go side by side. Rachel Hunt in that number 51, she's stuck on the outside with Richie Coy to her inside.
And that's the first battle on the track. Battle for 5th place there behind him. Kenneth Schultz, the Wisconsin short tracker. He's on the outside of Chad Lang, sporting a brand new paint there. Got a little bit confused. He's there. Then we go a little bit further back. We got Randy McKinney joining that new team we talked about earlier. He's on the outside of Josh Mayhew. Chris, this is a 0.62 5-mile track. And you look at that, that's about 5/8 of a mile. And you look at this, these guys that are toward the end of the pack, they're going to be about a half a lap down, if not more, as this race already is underway.
Certainly true. You look.
McKinney spins it.
Gets turned around.
And we stay green. Wow.
Talk about
no, we're not
doing a complete 180. Now we've got the caution coming out.
And it's Chad Lang that's wrecked that brings out the caution. And let's see what happened. I guess first to Randy McKinney, although I'm having a hard time finding anything on our system that indicates an accident for Randy McKinney. Let's see if this is it here. Little checkup back there. And McKinney, he just got loose off the turn. Does a great job holding on to it. I cannot believe he did not come back in the track. And I think Sherwood Williford was really happy he didn't. You look at the actual cause for the yellow flag. That is Chad Lang in the number 4. And he was doing so well up in the top 5 here. And actually, we've totally missed him here. Oh, no, we haven't. Here we go. Chad Lang on the bottom. He gets on the grass. And that's something that doesn't exist in the 1996 version, but the 87 version, they had the grass down there, and Chad Lang found that early.
Certainly did. This is a tough track, Jared. With it being so small, you have to feather the throttle coming out of the corners here, and that just makes for hard racing, and especially early on when you have those tires just not quite up to temperature.
Yeah, Randy McCanny getting loose off turn 4. Chad Lang getting onto the grass out of turn number 2 and looping that machine around. 8 laps in the books. These guys going to stack them up again. 32 drivers here tonight and a lot of different winners. We already got a couple drivers in the pits. Matt Geringer and Steven Vrooman. Vrooman with a little front end damage. I didn't see him get any contact, but may have just gotten caught up in the aftermath of those incidents and caused him to have to go to pit road. The other thing we'll have to watch there is the pit road exit is literally right onto the track. So if we have any green flag steps, these guys are going to be coming out right into traffic, and there's not a lot of working room to get out of there, or a lot of time for that matter. They redid that in 1991, paved that out all the way to right where they're at now, and then they actually paved up an entrance right here. At this point forward, there's actually an entrance down there that's paved with a wall. So a little bit different and a unique challenge for these drivers. We're about ready to go back green here. 9 laps down here at Wilkesboro. Pace car is off. Troy Torgerson will lead him down. Bernard Person on the outside. And we are back to racing here at Wilkesboro.
Back to racing, and once again, Torgerson's going to lead them into turn 1. Not quite the same restart as he had for the initial start here. Still able to clear Person, and is going to lead them down into turn 3. Side by side, still behind them with Chuck Sweeney and that 75 stuck on the outside of Bobby Terrell.
Beautiful angle this is, and Torgerson's going to go ahead and take the spot. Chuck Sweeting trying to do it the hard way on the outside in that number 75 machine. He is the only non-playoff driver in the top 5 right now, and Sweeting does get around Bobby Terrell, working the high side in that number 75 Gator Racing machine. Bernard Person looking down on the flat, can't get anything off the corner.
Back behind Chuck Sweeney and Richie Coy saw that same move on the outside, did the same thing to Rachel Hunt, just in the same corner, pretty much as Sweeney on Terrell.
And Richie Coy, just like we talked about earlier with Kenneth Schultz, he's a short track driver. Richie Coy runs the NEMA Lights up in New England. The Northeastern Midget Association is what he runs in. Kind of like USAC sprint cars on pavement, if you're familiar with those. And Richie Coy moving up, races a lot of short tracks, so he's got that in his bread and butter. We got Jason Speer working on the outside line here. He's up to 12th spot, and I think Jason Speer is probably having one of his best short track runs, really doing a great job in that number 83 machine, already up 3 positions. Sherwood Williford right beside him, up 4 positions.
Yeah, these guys are finding a way to run side by side here. Outside seems to get a little bit better run off the corner, but not able to drive near as deep into the corner as that inside lane, making it real difficult to pass here, Jared.
Still side by side, Vrooman is on pit road. Behind them, John Held is battling with last week's winner, Ralph Nolan. They've got a lot of people. Tony Solari way up the track. Brody Hanna in this mix. This is a gaggle right here, Chris.
It certainly is, and this is something that a lot of guys are not wanting to deal with, and it looks like they've got a driver back there that actually is having a little bit of connection issues, and that's making it all that much more scary for these drivers.
I couldn't exactly tell who that was that dropped out there. Randy McCanny a little bit loose off 4. But this group is starting to get settled out as Steven Vrooman back on pit road. Not sure what's going on with that number 00. Brody Hanna back there in 26. Tracy Powers in 27th. Matt Geringer 28th. 2 teammates there. Bill Benedict, Adam Newton, and Wayne Grassi not having a great race right now. 31st place on the track. Steven Vrooman on pit road in 32nd. That's where we stand right now. Sherwood Williford finally getting around Jason Speer. They're single file all the way back till you get to, looks like John Held and Casey McMullen battling for 21st.
Yeah, this track here, we're only 20 laps in, Jared. They're ticking down quickly, but it's still a long race with 180 laps still left to go.
Exactly right. Donnie Staubitz now in this battle. He's a short tracker. Ran modifieds in the Northeast for a long time. If you're familiar with the modifieds, Ryan Priest came out of those. Ted Christopher came out of those. Donnie Staubitz was out there mixing up with some of those guys. John Held continued to drop back. Chad Lang trying to make his way forward. He is there. Andrew Poliski and Donnie Staubitz very close. But Chris, while these guys are battling, Troy Torgerson still got Bernard Person, keeps looking on him every lap, just can't make a move. And we bring up that track map, and you see already that these guys toward the back of the pack already a half a lap down.
Yeah, with this being such a small track here, Jared, it makes things really, really interesting. And you can see here, Bernard Person, he's trying everything he can to get under Torgerson, just not able to get the run through the middle of the corner to get him where he needs to be to get off there. We have another caution here.
Yeah, it's Tony Solari. He stopped on the track, and that's a big no-no. You can't stop on the track, especially there. And it looks like, oh, he got into the side of Brody Hanna, and must have been some kind of technical failure because this car just kind of rolls down the straightaway, and I wonder if maybe something came unplugged on that number 74 machine. And unfortunately, the leaders were there, and that's going to bring out the caution.
It certainly is. I was looking at the track map and I saw him running slowly there right in front of the leaders. Definitely had to be some kind of technical issue because he just immediately went to the inside lane there and just was rolling. He wasn't even really braking all that hard, Jared.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to get to pit road, got contact with Brody Hanna, his team owner, there in that, and it looked like possibly maybe something came disconnected because the way he kind of rolled down that straightaway. We don't know for sure, but regardless, that's going to bring out a caution. So 24 laps in, and we have another caution, Chris. And these laps are ticking away pretty good, but already some drivers in trouble. Vrooman looks to be out of commission. Actually, he's back on the track, so he must have more damage than I thought. Wayne Grossi looks to be having some connection issues just ahead of him, but Brody Hanna and Tony Solari both going to lose a lap thanks to that caution. So is Andrew Poliski in the 96. So tough break for them.
The good news for Brody Hanna is that this is still a long race here, Jared, and even with that little bit of damage that he has to the left side or to the right side of that car, not really going to impact him much here tonight with this being such a small track.
Exactly right. That is, yeah, I mean, he's going to be the second car a lap down right now as Solari is in the pits with something going on there with his machine. Vrooman has returned to the track. So we have 31 of the 32 drivers currently on track right now. And Brody Hanna, just a tough break for him, getting caught up in that little incident there. But Troy Torgerson, Chris, he won all the way back at Darlington in a throwback race. Last year, this was FTSR's throwback event. Not this year, but he's leading this one, Chris.
That he is, and it's been a pretty dominant performance for him so far. I say dominant because he's not had anyone really be able to get up there and challenge for him.
Andrew Poliski slow on the pace lap, must be having to drop to the rear there. Not a lot of room to get out of the way at North Wilkesboro because of the way this track is set up. But Bernard Person's been hounding Troy Torgerson, like you said, Chris. And the thing is, this track is not easy to pass on. Bernard Person running down there in the flat spot. There is a banking transition down there on the bottom side of this track. And he's been running down there, but it's awfully bumpy.
It certainly is. You just you have to set up your car completely different if you're going to run that line, and I think that's kind of what Bernard Person is edging on, is just hoping that he'll be able to wear that lower line in with a couple other drivers and be able to be a little bit faster going into the corner, kind of do a slide job in front of Torgerson, but not able to make it work so far. Now he's going to be on the outside. He's got the opportunity. Maybe he can get around on the outside like a couple drivers behind him have been able to do.
Pace car is off. Flagman drops the flag, and we are back racing here at Wilkesboro. Troy Torgerson, another great start. Bernard Person hanging on the outside. Everybody making their way through into turn number 1.
This is the closest that Bernard Person's been to being in the lead. He gets door to door as they head into 3, Jared.
Power on the outside for the 8 machine. He's trying to lead a lap. Richie Coy's there as well. Bernard Person's going to take over the lead. What a move by the 8.
A dominating little aggressive move there by the 8, but it's what he had to do, Jared, to be able to get up into this lead. And you can see Coy makes it work as well. Torgerson now on that bottom just can't seem to get the run off the corner. It's really hurting him right now.
And he is finally going to get out of that mix. Rachel Hunt looking on the outside of Bobby Terrell. Rachel Hunt, unfortunate accident last week between two teammates, but ever since she joined the Faster Racing Group with Steve Berry Racing and Blackwater Motorsports, she has been on a tear, and there she is right now in 5th place. Brian Hellman 6th, Doucette 7th, Kevin Rupert, Kenneth Schultz, Josh Mayu in the top 10, but he's got battling on the outside of him with TJ Bartell in that 88 machine trying to make a move.
And one thing since he got the lead, Bernard Person's been able to do that Torgerson was unable to do, Jared, is pull away from second place. He's got a 6/10 of a second lead on Richie Coy, who's got another 6/10 of a second lead over Troy Torgerson.
Patience right there. Bernard Person showed a lot of patience and resolve. Just let Troy Torgerson run the race he wanted to run, and he knew he had a better car, or looked like now he knows he has a better car at least, and he's able to make something happen. We look back in this field, still some 2x2. Donnie Staubitz getting underneath Ralph Nolan. Ralph Nolan trying to hold off right now Dale Nearad. We got Randy McCanny, Casey McMullen, Chad Lang, and that's it in this group. Also, Gil Gach right there in front of this group.
And right as you were talking about him, Gil Gach got completely sideways coming out of the corner there. Was able to hang on to it. Great driving by that number 85.
Gil Gach up on the outside with Gator Racing there, and there he is holding that machine up there. Donnie Staubitz trying to make a move just ahead of them. Jason Speer has cleared this group, but the battle rages on back here around 15th position. All these drivers in the thing, and John Held has wrecked it. Heavy impact for the 10 machine. And let's see what happened to John Held. So he's got Adam Newton on the inside. He's up on the high side. So far, nothing yet. And he's up really... Oh, Adam Newton hits one of those bumps down there, Chris, and launches the car upside down, and John Held nowhere to go.
Wow, unfortunate place for the number 10 to be. Down there on the apron there, we talk about them. There's little curve there. They kind of act like turtles on a road course. They will throw that car completely all over the track. That's what happened there. And Newton gets up into the 10. Really unfortunate moment for the number 10 machine, and he has a lot of damage now.
We're on board Adam Newton. He hits that curbing just exactly right. And unfortunately, John Held was the person that prevented Adam Newton from pounding the outside wall. And heavy damage, missing the entire front clip, Chris. But a lot of drivers coming down pit road, including Rachel Hunt, Adam Newton, Tracy Powers. We have several drivers on pit road. Matt Geringer, Chuck Sweeting, Chad Lang, all coming down pit road, but the leaders stay out.
A little bit of strategy play here by those drivers. They're looking at breaking this race up a little bit differently than the rest of the field. Going to see how that plays into their advantage. At this point, Jared, you come in, you've now got a couple laps under your belt. You know what your car needs to adjust. That may be why these drivers are on pit road.
Yeah, Rachel Hunt was up to 4th position and has decided to go ahead and make a pit road stop. And I can speak from experience. That is always a gamble to pit at a short track by yourself. And it can play out one of two ways. You get caught up in a wreck, or you make your way back to the front. Unfortunately for me, it has always ended up being a wreck. So it's going to be interesting to see how she does going through the field. But that's going to move Brian Helm up into the top 5 and Dean Doucette to 6. The Gladiators of Racing drivers, Rupert and Schultz in 7th and 8th, TJ Bartell 9th, and Sherwood Williford, the defending winner at this track, in 10th place. And Chris, he is one of those drivers that hasn't won a race yet this year outside of the top 16, or outside of the playoffs, in 23rd position. So basically, he is in a must-win situation at this point in time.
And that's all the reason more to be aggressive here on this restart. If you're on the outside, Jared, you got to do whatever it takes to be able to get into those positions. Easiest way to do that is on a restart. Well, we saw earlier what happened when you started on the inside lane here. Troy Torgerson was unable to get off the corner well enough to keep Bernard Person behind him. Now it's going to be Person's time to figure out exactly where he wants to go on this track. It looks like he's going to choose the outside lane here, Jared.
Yeah, he's figured out something on that outside line. So Richie Coy is going to be the driver alongside him, who is 2nd place. Then we'll have Torgerson, Terrell, Helm, Doucette, Rupert, Schultz, Bartell, and Williford, your top 10. Then we have Mayu, Allen, Jason Speer, Donnie Staubitz, Gil Gach, your top 15. Nearad, Nolan, McMullen, and McCanny, your top 20, with Wayne Grossi 21st. Hunt, Lang, Geringer, Sweeting, and Brody Hanna, all the drivers on the lead lap. Pace car is off. And another great start by Bernard Person, but Richie Coy powers his way back down into turn 1.
Side by side, they go through 1 and 2. It looks like Coy's going to have a little bit of advantage on the inside, and then Person gets the run off the corner. He's not quite clear yet, but they're looking to battle to the line here, Jared.
to the line. This is going to be Bernard Person, but not by much. Coy still on the inside, and that's a tough spot to be. Torgerson and Dean Doucette may have made a little contact behind. Couldn't tell, but they were very close. Torgerson going to cede that spot to Doucette, so move Doucette to 4th place. Bernard Person clears Coy on the high side, and he is going to move into the lead all the way. Coy 2nd, Terrell 3rd, Doucette 4th, Torgerson 5th, and Brian Helm trying to work the outside line around Torgerson. They figured out something on the outside, and we've got a wreck again. It's 2 teammates, Poliski and Vrooman, caught up in this one. And it's 3 wide back here. Poliski, well, so far so good. Almost, they were 3 wide, almost wrecked. Oh, and then Poliski comes down the track into the 45. And Tracy Powers nowhere to go. Heavy impact there. And 2 teammates caught up in that.
Yeah, an unfortunate event there kind of taking place coming out of the corner, Jared. And man, this track, you don't want to be going 3 wide with anyone here.
Yeah, that was, and Poliski was a lap down. I'm not sure I would have put my nose in there, and I might have waited to live another day, but unfortunately, that's not the case here. And Tracy Powers, the driver, with significant damage. We've got pit stops now. Everybody down pit road toward the back of the field. We've got Gil Gock, Randy McCanney, Chuck Sweeting, Bill Benedict, Matt Geringer, Brody Hanna, Ralph Nolan, all on pit road.
They saw what those drivers behind them did earlier, and with that short pit with Rachel Hunt, this is going to pretty much move her up to 18th position as she's able to get a couple of these spots back as these guys are pitting. That's going to put her in the middle of the pack. We'll have to keep an eye on that strategy. But now we've got all these guys that have just pitted, Jared. Now they're going to have to make their way back up through the field, and our leaders, they still are on old tires.
Vrooman and Poliski coming on pit road. Tough break for both of those drivers tonight. Poliski is on the edge of playoff contention. I mean, he is in points anyway. So he definitely needs all the points he can get. That's why he's out there racing. Doesn't want to give up any points, but unfortunately just Wilkesboro is a very tight, difficult track. I've had a very similar incident, been involved in a very similar incident just like that before, just like it was in the Tracy Power spot with that as well. But Chris, now we're 45 laps in this race. The leaders haven't made any inclination that they want to pit yet. What are we thinking as far as pit strategy?
At this point, it looks like these guys are trying to do whatever they possibly can to go all the way to the end of a fuel run, Jared. That's going to be an interesting strategy as these cars are going to get really, really loose coming out of the corner as these tires continue to wear on.
We got Pepto Joe out there. He races Cup Series part-time. Is a postal service worker, so sometimes he's not able to make the races, but he is out there watching, and he says he really likes that that track. And then we got Stephen Loomis out there as well, wondering if how many cautions we're going to have tonight. Right now we're up to 4. Hopefully we won't have too many more of these, as it's been pretty decent racing, just some kind of fluke accidents right now that have caused some cautions. The 74 pulling off the track, causing a caution, and then we had a driver hitting the curb, and then the most recent accident as well. So we'll see what happens, and we'll get this thing back under green. Pace car about to make that turn, and we're about ready to get this thing going again.
We certainly are, and it looks like Bernard Person's going to take the inside lane here, Jared. Thinks he's going to be able to get a little bit better start here. We'll have to see how this pans out for the 8 machine.
Green flag back out, and Bernard Person with a great start on the inside, but now can Richie Coy use the outside line to his advantage? He's going to stick it up there on the outside. He's going to power off on turn number 2.
Bernard Person's going to be wishing he took that outside lane as the 19 clears the 8 in the middle of the corner. Now the 8 powering back, trying to beat him back to the line. Jared, this is going to be tough, but the 19, he's got it.
Richie Coy will lead that lap. Dean Doucette gets around Bobby Terrell on the outside. And now what does Bernard Person do? He can't move up the track because Dean Doucette's already got that hole filled. 29 on the outside of the 8.
29 saw an opportunity there and drove deep into the corner there to get beside Person. He's going to take the 2nd position, and man, that just shows just what the lane choice here can do to a driver, Jared.
Yeah, and that's what's happened to Troy Torgerson. I mean, he was leading this race, dominating this race. The first 25 laps, he led all of them. And now he's in 6th position. Just can't make a move. Back further, Sherwood Williford, he is making moves on the inside line. He's one of the few drivers I've seen actually gain a spot. He's gained 2 spots, trying to make it 3 spots on the inside line, Chris.
Yeah, he's able to roll the center of the corner so much better than those around him, and he's able to get back into the throttle, which is something that a lot of drivers here are not able to do on that lower line. But he's being able to make it work here, Jared.
Just cannot seem to clear Kevin Rupert off the corner. Richie Coy up to a half a second lead over Dean Doucette right now. Kevin Rupert powering back on the outside lane. Back further, TJ Bartel using the really high line back there. Oh my goodness, almost door-to-door contact between the 1 and the 33. This battle continues to rage on for 7th. Back further, the battle for 11th spot finally setting down with TJ Bartel beating out Josh Mayhew.
Now Mayhew is under attack by Jason Speer on the outside there. Oh, and not able to complete it or even get up beside him. These guys, they're really battling hard out here. You'd think that this was for the lead.
And we are trying to get you all the action. We got Sherwood Williford still battling with the 1 machine. That is a battle for 7th. And then we have this big gaggle of cars. TJ Bartel, Josh Mayhew, who's powered back on the inside line. Lane Allen just got around that group. Jason Speer, Donnie Staubitz, Casey McMullen, Rachel Hunt all in this group. And we have some drivers on new tires back here as well, Chris. Rachel Hunt leading that group, pitting on lap 36. We also have Matt Geringer in the 11, who pitted on lap 44. Chuck Sweeting also pitted on 44, trying to make a move as well.
A lot of action all over the track here, Jared. It's hard to figure out which battle is the most important to watch, as everyone seems to be fighting for positions everywhere on the track except for up front.
Williford has finally passed Kevin Rupert. Now he's got something going, and Donnie Staubitz is spinning. We stay green.
Donnie Staubitz just got a little bit loose coming out of the corner, Jared, like we saw earlier, but was able to keep that thing from spinning all the way around, plowed into the inside wall, kept it going in the right direction, and we're able to stay green.
Sherwood Williford has made up 5 positions on the inside line, moved that 33 up to 7th place, the defending race winner. He knows how important this track is for his playoff chances back up front. The gap has come down just a little bit. Richie Coy, 0.5 of a second. It was down to 0.3 of a second. It's back up to about 4.5. Dean Doucette's got pressure from Bernard Persson as well, as these top 3 are starting to get down some very good speed, and Dean Doucette really slowed down through the corner, or Bernard Persson really drove it in, almost contact there.
Yeah, Bernard Persson seems to be diving it in really deep in that corner, making it look like Dean Doucette's getting pretty much to a stop there, but he's still not able to do anything because Doucette is kind of going down there to block his line, Jared.
Doucette moves up to the high side. He's able to gain some time. They are all gaining on Richie Coy, just not very quickly, but they are gaining on Richie Coy. We look back, Lane Allen up to 8th, Kenneth Schultz, Kevin Rupert, your top 10. And we look back at these other battles. That's right now Rachel Hunt on those fresh tires. She is working her way underneath Jason Speer. That is a battle for 14th position right now. And on the inside, she's got Dale Nearad as well on fresh tires, trying to work his way through the field as well. Apologies, Dale Nearad does not have fresh tires.
Battle up front, they're only 0.3 of a second from one another, 0.4, but it's that outside lane that Dean Doucette is able to run that's giving him such a great run off of the corner. That's where he's making up all of his time. But Richie Coy, he's noticed that in the last couple of laps, he's been experimenting on the track.
Yeah, he has. And Dean Doucette, you see him there. He moves up the track just a little bit on entry, and he stays a little bit higher than Richie Coy. And you see the battle box down in your bottom right. That's 5 drivers all within a 1.5 seconds of the lead. That's a great battle, and these are some prime drivers up here in the top 5 right now.
They certainly are. And Bobby Terrell has Brian Helm all over his back bumper. Helm's running a little bit higher line than everyone else on the track right now, and you can see that it's really paying off for him.
Jump on board Brian Helm, and you see, Chris, you're exactly right. Look at the line that Brian Helm is running compared to everybody else. He's entering up on the high side, and he's able to get that car almost to the outside of Bobby Terrell, but just can't quite get the drive off. It looks like he's kind of diamonding down.
Yeah, when he's doing that diamond down, Jared, he's just not able to get up to the quarter panel of the 5, doing everything he possibly can, though. He's probably a little bit faster, but unfortunately, anytime he's trying to go back down to do that diamond, he's got to slow down a little bit so he doesn't run into the 5.
And now he's got a good run coming off the corner now. As we look out the back of Bobby Terrell, Bernard, and Brian Helm is side by side, but just can't get it done. Also, at the same time, while that's going on, Sherwood Williford in the 33 has passed Troy Torgerson, so moves Sherwood Williford up to 6th place.
12 spots from the start here for both him and Lane Allen. Allen's actually up 13 spots. These guys are really getting it done here tonight, Jared.
And guess what? 5th, 6th, and 7th. You'll see them on the battle box. They are not in gray. That means they have not won a race yet this year and not inside the top 25 in points. So these 3 drivers, the 26, the 33, and the 14, these guys, they need wins. Right now, Helm is in the playoffs on points, and so is Lane Allen. But a win would solidify their chances.
And with just 3 spots remaining in that playoff bubble, these guys are going to do everything they possibly can to get up there, and this might be their night.
Back up front, Dean Doucette has caught the back of the bumper of Richie Coy. And he's brought Bernard Persson along with him. At the same time that's going on, Sherwood Williford has caught Brian Helm and Bobby Terrell. Let's see what's going to happen here. Dean Doucette moving up the racetrack, Chris, and has started to reel in Richie Coy. Richie Coy still committed to the bottom.
It's so interesting to see these drivers, Jared, going in different lines, going through 1 there and 2. They're pretty much identical, but when we get to 3 and 4, all 3 of the top 3, completely different lines.
And you see Bernard Persson trying to figure out where he's going to go, and we're getting word that Tony Solari blew up. So that's why he came to a stop on the straightaway. So we did get that confirmation. Tough break for Tony Solari. Andrew Polisky on pit road. Heavy damage to that machine from an earlier incident. And right now, Dean Doucette is on the back bumper of Richie Coy.
He is, but he can't do anything with it as he gets so loose coming out of the corner there.
Looking out the back of that Stewart's soda pop machine there, and back further, you'll see it. Sherwood Williford has gotten around Brian Helm, or getting around Brian Helm. But we're staying with Richie Coy.
Is on the track, Jared, as our leader is getting loose now too. You can really see these cars struggling with grip off the corner.
And look at all, I love this view from the back of Richie Coy's car. You see about 8 cars, and they're all running 8 different spots at this track. And this is a short track. This is something, in my opinion, that NASCAR is sorely missing, and I cannot believe this track was ever taken off the schedule, except for its location, which is kind of in the middle of nowhere. But right now, Sherwood Williford making something happen on the inside. We still watch from Richie Coy's vantage point, but Chris, this is heating up already. And don't forget, we got lap traffic that's going to come into play here in a few laps.
Lap traffic and pit stops on the horizon for these leaders that have not yet pitted here tonight, Jared.
Yeah, Steven Vrooman is just ahead of them, as well as Adam Newton, both those drivers with some damage from an earlier wreck. But here it is from the drone cam, and you just see just how this track really just accordions or concertinas everything up right now. Richie Coy, I mean, this is amazing racing here, and we've got about 7 cars underneath the blanket right now.
That we do. Dean Doucette has gathered that car up and is now back up on the bumper of Richie Coy again. Bernard Persson right there with them. These guys, they have a heated battle for the lead going on between 7 different drivers, Jared.
Dean Doucette trying to look on the outside, trying to get that run off the corner. He's got that run off the corner. He's going to look inside of turn 1.
Getting underneath Richie Coy. Coy now on the outside, going to easily be able to clear the 29, who immediately drops down to the bottom of the track, Jared, to go through the corner to get back the line that he wants.
Well, that was that Dean Doucette figured out something, and I think maybe, knowing Dean as well as I do, I think maybe he's like, wait, I showed my hand, I'm going to back this thing off a little bit. But he figured out something coming off turn 4, and I wouldn't be surprised if he perfects that move as the race goes on. We've been following these leaders for a while. Let's take a look back at some of the other action. Sherwood Williford has finally cleared Brian Helm, so that number 33 machine has got something underneath the hood tonight. He is moving forward up 13 spots. So is his associated teammate Lane Allen up 13 spots. Troy Torgerson has moved backwards, down 7. We got Kenneth Schultz, Kevin Rupert. They are still in the top 10. Mayu in his new look 02 machine. Love that paint scheme. Josh in 11th. Chad Lang 12th. Casey Mullen moving up 8 spots into 13th. Bartel and Dale Nearad battling right now. That is a battle for 15th position. Randy McCanny 16th, Jason Speer 17th, battling with Chuck Sweeting. And right now, that's where the battle on the track is for 17th position, all the way back to 22nd right now. That includes Rachel Hunt on new tires.
Yeah, Rachel Hunt has a little bit better advantage coming out of the corners here, but she's on that bottom groove, Jared. That's going to eat those tires up, but she almost gets into the 95 in the middle of the corner.
Rachel Hunt, Ralph Nolan, last week's winner. The last 2 winners right there in that pick. And we got somebody disappearing. That looks to be Wayne Grossi disappearing side by side. Rachel Hunt trying to make something happen. John Held has finally got that machine repaired and back out on the track. 47 laps down for the number 10 car. We've
big
lost.
Moment for Rachel Hunt as she was exiting the corner, got completely sideways, had to go all the way down to almost the wall to catch that machine. Was able to do so, but it cost her 4 spots, Jared.
And we got a couple drivers, both of them out of Florida, Chuck Sweeting and Wayne Grossi, that are continuing to disappear just a little bit. Up ahead of them, we got Dale Nearad all over the back of TJ Bartel, and these guys are running the extreme high line. Look at Dale Nearad. He is all the way up against the wall.
That is an unusual line here, but it seemed to be working for these drivers as now the 03 is going to go underneath TJ Bartel and try to make it there. But this is not the lane that he wants, Jared. It makes it that much harder to get around 88.
And TJ Bartel looks like he's going to let Dale Nearad maybe not have that position. Yeah, he is going to let him have that position. So Nearad and Bartel running some unorthodox lines, but it was working out for him. We check back in on this battle. It's kind of settled down just a little bit as Ralph Nolan's gotten clear. Now Jason Speer up on the high side. He's got Brody Hanna and Matt Geringer behind him, along with Wayne Grossi. Little bit of a slide by Brody Hanna, but he's going to take advantage of it. He's going to look underneath the 83 into turn 1.
That he does, and seems like he's able to. Oh, he gets real
loose.
Sideways.
Holds on to it. But that was a tough slide for Brody Hanna. He's going to slide back several positions. Bill Benedict is there, but these guys are only about, what do you think, Chris? About 5-6 seconds ahead of the leaders right now?
Yeah, that's a pretty fair assessment, and that's no good news for anyone in the back of this pack. With as small as this track is, Jared, these guys, they're going to be caught pretty quickly, and that's going to amp up this battle here just that much more. As soon as you start seeing the leader in your mirror, you know you've got to get around them.
5 cars, all within 9/10 of a second. Coy, Doucette, Person, Terrell, and Williford. One of these things is not like the other. That's Sherwood Williford. He has not won a race yet this year. He's in 5th place, but the battle rages on, and this is a great battle. Some of the best racing we've seen all season among these 5 drivers, and they are some of the best in the game right now. Coy, Doucette, Person, Terrell, and Williford, your top 5 here at Wilkesboro.
And all that Coy is doing is he's driving right now. He's looking at seeing the line, hoping that they'll give him the line that he wants, which will put another person in Dean Doucette out of the line and make them have to get around line traffic a little bit less than they would like, or less than the ideal situation for those drivers. Only going to be for them to get out to the high line.
Chris, we caught some of that, but basically, yeah, I mean, the lines here are very much different here at this track, and everybody's using those to his advantage, but we're having just a little bit of a connection issue there with Chris, but we got the gist of it as Richie Coy continues to lead. But if you look out the front end of that machine, Richie Coy, he's got not very much long. He's got Adam Newton and Donnie Staubitz ahead of him right now. And if you look out the back of Richie Coy, you've got 5 cars, make that 6 cars, all in a line, just waiting for Richie Coy to make a mistake.
Bernard Person's trying to do everything he can to get underneath Dean Doucette, and he's able to get beside him as we got a caution as Josh Mayhew has crashed.
It's Josh Mayhew, and that is going to come at an inopportune time for some drivers, but a great time for others. And that car may have backed it into the fence. Don't seem, yeah, there it is, all the damage on the rear. Let's take a look and see what happens. So Josh Mayhew is working, lost some spots. Casey Mullen and Kenneth Schultz got around him. And he is coming into turn 2. Oh, and just gets rear-ended by Dale Nearad. And unfortunately, when he stopped on the track, that's going to bring out the caution. But tough break there. I don't know if he knew Dale Nearad was there. And that's going to bring out the caution. But everybody on pit road except Matt Gehringer and Wayne Grossi.
Matthew Gehringer and Wayne Grossi had been on pit road previously. I believe that's why they elected to stay out, Jared.
I think Matt Gehringer going to take that bonus point, and Wayne Grossi now in the pits as well. Richie Coy will come around, and he will retain the lead here. Dean Doucette second, Bernard Person third off pit road. Bobby Terrell, Sherwood Williford, your top 5.
What a move there by Richie Coy on pit road. He hopped out of his pit stall and immediately pretty much had to put a block on Dean Doucette in the 29 to be able to retain that lead just on pit road. Heads up driving by that number 19.
Let's see if we can get a replay of that. That's a great thing to look at here of Richie Coy getting on and off pit road here. So here we go. Richie Coy down. He's got the right sides up. You see Chuck Sweeting coming into pits right there. And there's Dean Doucette flying out of here. Richie Coy had to make a move, but Richie Coy didn't have very much to go compared to Dean Doucette. What a move by Richie Coy, because Dean Doucette was hauling the mail and may have saved Dean Doucette from a speeding penalty, actually.
That he may have, as Dean Doucette definitely slammed on the brakes as soon as the 19 pulled out in front of him. Could have been because he was speeding, could have been because he was worried he was going to get into the 19.
So all these drivers in front of Richie Coy, that's starting with Rachel Hunt. We've got Jason Speer. These drivers all taking the wave around. So they were basically a lap down or close to it when that caution came out. And may have just not gotten picked up correctly. Sometimes this track can be a little bit finicky about that with where you're picked up. But we're about ready to get this thing green. Again, Richie Coy is going to take the outside lane. And Dean Doucette will have to see what he can do from the inside. This is the closest they've been together all race long, and we'll see what happens halfway through the event. And we are back under green here at Wilkesboro. As a battle continues up here. Great run. Dean Doucette wants to get that bonus point. Side by side into turn 3. Doucette is there. Coy's still leading, but Doucette's doing a great job on the inside.
That he is. Richie Coy not able to get the advantage on the corner just yet. Looks like he may be able to do so coming out of 2. Clears the 29, but man, definitely Doucette did not make it easy. That was a restart unlike many of the others that we've seen here tonight.
Bernard Person, he's got a mirror full of Bobby Terrell as everybody works their way downhill. The front stretch is downhill at Wilkesboro, makes it very unique at this track. But right now, Richie Coy doing everything he can. There's some drivers that are on pit road.
Big crash, Jared. Big crash behind him. Bobby Terrell is involved in this one. It looks like Sherwood Williford may have gotten into the back of him, and a huge wreck happened in the middle of the corner.
Wow, let's see what happened here at this yellow flag here. So there's Sherwood Williford. He's got Dean Doucette on the inside, or sorry, Lane Allen on the outside of him. Looks on the inside of Bobby Terrell, and wow, that, I don't know. There's 2 different accidents going on. Something happened further back. Brian Helm involved in that one. Looked like Bobby Terrell was able to get that thing going, but Kenneth Schultz involved in the second one. Brian Helm involved as well. Let's see what happened back here. So Kenneth Schultz there. And we got Brian Helm ahead. Brian Helm, he's got Kevin Rupert. Oh, and Chad Lane gets into the back of him. So Chad Lane gets in the back of the 26 at the same time. Casey McMullen gets some damage. Kenneth Schultz gets some damage. Gil Gock gets some damage. Brody Hanna almost gets some damage as the smoke cleared and there was a car sitting there. Some other drivers stopping to make sure these guys get turned around. But tough break there. 2 different accidents happening. Likely that accident happened because Brian Helm probably hit the brakes a little bit, and Chad Lang didn't see him because he was right behind him.
Yeah, these cars are hard to see through, Jared, and that would be one instance right there. Brian Helm, his car is all torn up from this accident. A lot of different drivers, Kenneth Schultz, Gil Gog, Brian Helm, all of these drivers, Jason Speer, Andrew Polisky, Bill Benedict III, a lot of different drivers got damaged in this wreck.
I think Bill Benedict actually just barely got a piece of it, and same with Jason Spear. So I think those guys are good to go. We had some drivers on pit road. Very weirdly, before that caution came out, I don't know if they thought they had to come in or thought they had a chance to come in. I'm not sure what happened, but those drivers still just got off pit road. Rachel Hunt was one of those drivers. As right now, we got 24 drivers on the lead lap. Casey Mullen was working his way through the field, and he has some damage on the side of that 71. That Dave Marcus throwback, really loved that paint from the late 70s there on the side of Casey Mullen tonight. But Chris, we're now down to the business hour of this race. 92 laps to go out of 200. Likely have one more pit stop. What is the strategy moving forward here? Do you hope for another caution, or do you think we're going to get another long run like we had?
At this point, the drivers up front would love to see this thing continue to go green as they're able to pull away from everyone else on the track. Those now top 4 drivers were a part of that group that were able to break away. They've lost a few of the members in that top pack from earlier. That may play out to be a little bit better of an advantage for those drivers, as Terrell was involved in that first little first caution right there. I say first caution, but I meant first wreck. He's a little bit farther back now, back in 7th. He's going to have to work his way back up here.
And we'll have to see if the damage on either of those drivers affected. Pace car is off, and Dean Doucette actually is the leader. And green flag is back out. Dean Doucette was able to get ahead of Richie Coy during that whole incident situation there, or maybe a situation where he was not supposed to be ahead. I'm not sure, but either way, almost contact between the leaders.
19 and the 29 both trying to get as close as they can to one another. Richie Coy going to lead that lap, but Dean Doucette not going to give it to him easily.
Rachel Hunt on pit road. Dean Doucette down on the inside, trying to make something happen in that 29 machine. And Richie Coy is not giving him any quarter. Oh my goodness, Dean Doucette runs up the track, and that's what you call a little hargy-bargy, but he's going to take that lap.
That he will, but Richie Coy making work on the outside. Dean Doucette going to try to slide up in front, not quite clear yet. This is a tough battle for the lead as Richie Coy goes way high. That's going to give the lead easily to Dean Doucette. Now he's got to battle Bernard Persson for second.
That was an amazing battle, and nothing wrong with Dean Doucette, what he did there. That's some good, hard, short track racing. Dean Doucette gave him a little bit of a door shot, and no damage done to either driver. Richie Coy able to power around Bernard Persson. Sherwood Williford in 3rd position. Dean Doucette just turned the fastest lap of the race on that lap. Williford with some damage on the front end. Hopefully he doesn't have too much tape, or we might see an engine failure in the future of that 33. He's got Troy Torgerson on the outside, and he's going to make a move now.
Bernard Persson trying to dive real deep into the corner to try to get to Richie Coy's outside, but not able to do it. Every lap, he tries to get closer and closer to that second position, not able to do it as we have a battle here for the 4th position as Troy Torgerson is right on the outside of Williford.
Torgerson continuing to battle. And you see it now. There it is from our chopper cam. And you see Torgerson just can't get the move down on Williford. Williford trying to make that move happen. He is going to pull ahead now with ease as well as Torgerson just wasn't able to get the power down.
No, not able to do so. Sherwood Williford really making that bottom groove work. He's one of the only drivers that seem to be able to make that work all night long, Jared.
Yeah, he has, and he has been great. And his team, one of his associated drivers, not necessarily teammates, but they kind of work together in Lane Allen trying to make it work on the bottom. But he's got Bobby Terrell now sneaking out on the outside. Dale Nearad also in this group, and Kevin Rupert as well.
You'd never know that 5 car was just spun around sideways and almost stopped on the track just a couple laps ago, Jared, as he's still trying to battle, trying to get around Lane Allen for that 6th position.
Yeah, I don't think that Bobby got too much damage out of that. It was hard to tell what happened there, but it looked like that there wasn't enough room for both of them in that corner. And unfortunately, the 5 got the bad end of the stick, but I don't think Bobby Terrell got all that much damage from it. I see a little bit on the left front there, but not too bad as this race continues to transpire. Bobby Terrell a little bit loose off the corner. Dean Doucette has opened up a 1 second lead, and we got contact between second and third right as we go back to it. More drivers sliding in. Dale Nearad spun around. TJ Bartel's hit. Bobby Terrell's up against the wall. I don't think he got any damage, just got stuck there, and we've got all kinds of mayhem.
That we do. It looks like Bernard Person and in that 8 machine, it just got a little bit sideways going into the corner there. And when he did, he overcorrected right into the 19, and that just blocked the entire corner for these guys.
So there you see it. So we look from our replay here. There's Bernard Person on the inside. Richie Coy on the outside does get loose, gets down there on that flat spot, and they both spin, and then it looks like just carnage ensues after that. TJ Bartel couldn't see anything happening in front of him. He gets a little damage out of that. So does Ralph Nolan, who followed TJ Bartel right in. Bobby Terrell doesn't look like he got any damage, just stopped up there. And we'll see what else happened as this wreck transpired, Chris. But this is going to shake up the field as Sherwood Williford moves to second.
Sherwood Williford kind of been a little bit of a dark horse here in this race, starting so far back. Really been able to be impressive with that bottom line here. We'll have to see if Dean Doucette will give it to him on the start, as it has seemed like the outsides kind of had been to the advantage on these restarts on older tires.
Dale Nearad looks like he just slammed on the brakes to try to avoid that wreck, and then actually was in the process of sliding, and then Kevin Rupert helped him all the way around. But nobody else with heavy significant damage. But Chris, now you got Sherwood Williford there. We did have some drivers go down pit road. Casey McMullen on pit road. Obviously Chad Lang, Matt Geringer, Richie Coy all on pit road, as well as Josh Mayu, TJ Bartel, Dale Nearad, Bernard Person, Brian Helm, Wayne Grossi, and Gil Gock, and Troy Torgerson all on pit road. But that was the big one. And when wrecks like that happen at Wilkesboro, especially at the front of the pack, there isn't really anywhere for anybody to go.
No, there's not, Jared, especially when you have all that smoke. And that's one thing about iRacing that is really pretty dead spot on now in these cars. With the amount of smoke that you see, it's really hard to see what's coming up ahead of you, especially if you're so far back, because you got guys that are slamming on the brakes, trying to slow down, and that's just creating more smoke and just makes things that much worse for those drivers in the middle to back of the pack.
Exactly right. And we got a lot of drivers out there, or a lot of fans out there watching. We got Pepto Joe. We got Pepto Joe Jr. We got Tony Solari, who is out of the event, but he is watching along with us. We got Cole Thomas. He's rooting on Bernard Person, but unfortunately Bernard was involved in just that most recent accident. And this whole complexion of this race has changed up. We got Dean Doucette, Sherwood Williford, Kevin Rupert, and Randy McCanny, your top 5. Out of those top 5, only Dean Doucette and Randy McCanny have a victory this year, Chris. .75 laps to go at Wilkesboro. And Dean Doucette will lead him. He's going to elect to take the outside line this time. Sure, Williford's going to have to go to the inside line.
But Jared, that's the line that Williford's been running all night here. So we'll have to see if he's able to do anything on it on this restart as we're back under green.
Williford might have spun the tires, Chris. Couldn't tell. It was close. Dean Doucette with a great start. Rupert trying to make a move on the outside. He has finished third once before back at Darlington. He would like to go a little bit better. Williford's going to clear him going off turn 2.
That he does, and Rupert has got Chuck Sweeney in that number 75 right on his bumper. Underneath the Sweeney, though, Lane Allen in that 14 trying to get up there and catch his pseudo teammate.
Lane Allen doing a great job. His real teammate, his official teammate, Dean Doucette, is leading the race. Lane Allen loose off turn 2. He's got to slide in behind Chuck Sweeting. Back further, Jason Speer looking on the outside of Randy McCanny. Great run for the 83 tonight. Looking good out there in the playoffs solidly, but would like to get some points if other drivers get some wins to make sure he's in. But Jason Speer doing a good job. Loose off the turn, but still powers down, trying to work on the outside of Randy McCanny. Up front, Dean Doucette is being caught by Sherwood Williford. And boy, oh boy, the playoff picture could take a big change. Williford has caught up to Dean Doucette, loose off the corner though. And these guys giving everything right now as we're down to 70 laps to go.
Williford was real strong on that last long green flag run. He's hoping that this thing will turn out to be a little bit longer run than the last one here, and that will play into his advantage, but it doesn't matter. He's still got to get around Dean Doucette, who's been really good tonight, Jared, of blocking other drivers' lines so that they could not make the pass, just going wherever they want to be. But right now, he's choosing to make that outside lane work around here as we complete lap 130 with now 70 laps to go.
Sure, Williford is there. And remember, they are kind of teammates, the 29 and the 33 nowadays. So that is always interesting to see what the guys that are running the same stuff or similar stuff to you can do with it. Lane Allen also in that group as well. We got some battling back in the middle of this pack. Brody Hanna looking underneath Kenneth Schultz. That's a battle for the top 10. Brody Hanna has a win. He can shake up the entire playoff picture by getting inside the top 25 in points. And a top 10 finish would definitely do it. This is a battle for ninth. We got Donnie Staubitz, Bobby Terrell, Wayne Grossi, Troy Torgerson all in there. And finally, Brody Hanna clears Kenneth Schultz off the turn, move the 23 to ninth place.
And you mentioned Troy Torgerson back there. He pitted on that caution. He has fresher tires than all of these guys that he's racing with at the moment, Jared.
And it looks like Wayne Grossi also pitted on that caution, as well as Gil Gach and TJ Bartel. So some fresh tires in this group. Kenneth Schultz doing a great job. Kenneth Schultz was a short track racer in the real world up in Wisconsin. And ran a lot of dirt tracks as well. So Kenneth Schultz can do it. They're 3 wide through the turn. That's not going to work, fellas. Somebody's going to have to give. And it looks like Donnie Staubitz gives.
That he does. And that 91 machine, Jared, he's got a heavy damage to the rear end of that machine. And he's still out here being competitive in that 10th spot.
Check back up front. That lead underneath underneath 2/10 of a second now between Williford and Doucette's kind of gone back up just a little bit, but Williford has clambered his way to the back bumper of Dean Doucette. We'll check back in on that lead in a minute, but we got a big old gaggle back here. Torgerson and Wayne Grossi. Then we have teammates Bobby Terrell and TJ Bartel battling. Richie Coy, Gil Gach all battling. And Rachel Hunt also in this group, along with Casey McMullen.
Troy Torgerson is trying to do everything he can to get around that number 7 of Wayne Grossi. He's really kind of diamonding the corner, forcing Grossi to go completely high in the corner. That's going to help Torgerson clear the 7 car going into 1.
Torgerson, the Colorado driver, doing a great job. He's got the advantage over Wayne Grossi, move him up to 12th position, and the leader of the drivers on fresh stuff. Right ahead of them, Donnie Staubitz trying to make a move on Kenneth Schultz. 2 short track drivers from 2 different areas of the country going head to head. Donnie Staubitz wins that battle. Bernard Persson on pit road.
Yeah, there was a little bit of smoke on the track. It makes me think that Bernard Persson had a little bit more damage, and he collects the wall and just decides to lock it up and bring it into pit lane, Jared. Not the night that the 8 was looking for after that early contact.
And if you look, he is coming out right ahead of these race leaders as Williford looking to make a move here. Bernard Persson, all kinds of damage after looked like maybe just a little bit too much rear brake, locked up the rears and spun around collecting Richie Coy from what it looked like. We don't know that for sure. Bernard Persson pulls out of the way. Gentleman thing to do. And Dean Doucette will go through, as will Sherwood Williford.
Definitely a classy thing to do by that number 8, not to break up into this leader's pathway here and make anything worse for this race. Williford just not able to get up there. Seems like every once in a while he'll get up to the bumper of that 29 machine of Dean Doucette, but not able to get enough run to get beside him even.
He's just not able to get that power down, and I wonder if that damaged the front end. Although there, he gets a good run through the turn, as Dean Doucette actually looked like he might have got a little bit too deep into that corner. But Doucette continued to kind of run that middle groove, and Sherwood Williford has not experimented to move up there, Chris. He has ran the bottom all night long.
That he has been committed to the bottom, and you can see that Dean Doucette is watching that. In this first turn here, now Dean Doucette is going in that lower line, and you can see what it does to Williford as it kills Williford's run up to him. And then on the 3rd and 4th corner, Williford's able to make it all back up because Doucette takes that higher line here. So even though these two may be running a similar setup, they're very much running this track very differently.
Very different indeed, and there's going to be some more lap traffic ahead of him. John Held is back on the track, but he's just trying to complete some laps here in 31st position, but he's going to go another lap down here in a few laps. And you look at these guys, Chris, right now. Sherwood Williford and Dean Doucette have pulled out over a second lead over Kevin Rupert. Lane Allen has fought his way back. He dropped to 6th. He is back to 4th, trying to make a move on the number 1 machine. That's a battle for 3rd. And if we go back a little bit further, Troy Torgerson now trying to make a move on Jason Speer. That's a battle for 8th place.
Able to make those fresh tires work as he's able to dive down deeper into the corner than Speer. Speer trying to make the outside lane work there, but Torgerson gets the run off the corner, easily able to clear that number 83 machine.
And if you look on our timing tower, the winners are coming. 6th through 11th all have won a race this year, and 6th through 10th are in our playoff drivers. So they are coming in a hurry. And you see Richie Coy getting around Jason Speer. That's a battle for 9th. Short-lived. Brody Hanna is just behind there. He's in 11th, trying to hold off Donnie Staubitz. And also, at the same time, they are catching Jason Speer. Donnie Staubitz loose off the corner. He's going to have to give up that spot to Brody Hanna. Bobby Terrell's going to look on the outside now.
You can see just how hard these drivers are fighting with the handling of their cars, and being on the inside there, Staubitz really having to get into the throttle hard to get the momentum off the corner like the outside lane. That's why he gets sideways. He's just not able to quite do it at this point in the race.
There's Brody Hanna, TJ Bartell on pit road. Side by side behind Brody Hanna, Bobby Terrell and Donnie Staubitz battling up front. We have a battle. It's Sherwood Williford underneath Dean Doucette for the lead.
Able to get underneath Dean Doucette. Doucette able to make it work on the outside, though. Not going to make it easy for Williford. Williford's going to have to drive hard through the corner there, battling to the line. It's going to be Doucette this lap. Maybe not next, though.
Sherwood Williford has got something on the long runs figured out. Doucette is there. They're giving each other plenty of room. They don't want to wreck each other by any means, but Sherwood Williford knows how important this race could be for his playoff chances. Dean Doucette's got to win. He is well within the playoff. Even if we have multiple winners, he would likely still be in the playoff picture and wouldn't lose his spot. Sherwood Williford's outside the points. He has to get a win. He has no mathematical chance. He gets loose off turn 2. That's going to do the battle for now.
And at this point now, Dean Doucette will take a deep breath here, as now he'll live to lead a couple more laps. As Williford drops down 4/10 of a second. A big crash behind them.
Brian Helm with damage. Heavy damage to Brian Helm. Also, Jason Speer looked like maybe involved. Or no, Adam Newton, apologies. So let's see what happens. Brian Helm there, the 26th, the white machine. He was in the top 5 earlier in this race. And he's by himself.
And it actually looks like the
somebody
blew up in front of them. Dale Nearad blows up right in front of the 20. Nowhere for the 20 to go, Jared.
Yeah, and that's 3 teammates that all got taken out. Wayne Grossi also with some damage as well. But let's take a look at this view from Dale Nearad. And so Adam Newton, his teammate, right behind him. Wayne Grossi there as well, not a teammate. Going into the turn, nothing to issue yet, and then all of a sudden blown up. And when you blow up, there's just no power, and you can't get the car you can't go anywhere. And Adam Newton nowhere to go at that point in time. Brian Helm with some damage, and Adam Newton with some damage.
Wayne Grossi got a little bit of damage there, Jared, but I don't know that it'll be too bad for that number 7 machine, as he's able to continue rolling here. But definitely not the night that Dale Nearad was looking for in that 03 machine.
No, not at all. And we look down the field. Tony Solari still getting repairs done with that engine failure from earlier on lap 24. John Held has now called it a night in his machine after some damage. He cannot gain any more positions, so that's why he's done. Chad Lang is still out there. He is 27 laps down in 30th position. Adam Newton on pit road with damage. Andrew Poliski, Steven Vrooman, TJ Bartell, all with significant damage, all on pit road. Brian Helm heading into pit road. But right now we have currently 17 drivers on the lead lap, with Wayne Grossi being the last of those drivers. I do believe Gil Gach gets his lap back, though. We got some crash sensitivity, but these drivers are not crashing, so that's good news there under caution. But Chris, we got 42 or 44 laps to go. Apologies. Dean Doucette, he had to hold off Sherwood Williford. Now these tires have a heat cycle. What can Sherwood Williford do? He's pretty dedicated to the bottom line. At the same time those guys are battling, Kevin Rupert was chasing them down.
Yeah, you mentioned that these tires have a heat cycle on them, Jared. We saw it on that last restart as Williford spun the tires on the restart. That gave Dean Doucette a pretty clear advantage going into the corner. That's what was allowed him to be able to lead the majority of that portion of the race. Now we've got even older tires. We've got the same issue as Dean Doucette's going to take the outside lane here again. That's going to leave Williford on the inside. At this point, Jared, you kind of got to just play it safe here and not spin those tires headed into one.
For sure. We got Marshall Layton out there in the chat chiming in as the pace car is right there. Not going back to green yet, but Marshall, you can see his league on Tuesday nights. Tomorrow night, the Kick and Asphalt League, they are doing the Next Gen Cup cars. Very entertaining series, and they do a great job over there. So thanks, Marshall, for tuning in, checking out the broadcast here tonight. And we'll have your league tomorrow night, and we can't wait for that action at Darlington in that throwback race with the Next Gen cars. But right now, we are down to pretty much the last stanza of this race. 41 laps to go. Dean Doucette leading, Sherwood Williford second, Lane Allen, Rupert, Coy, Torgerson, Sweeting, Speer, Staubitz, and Nolan, your top 10. Pace car is off. And green flag is back out. Another great start by Dean Doucette. Williford kind of looked like he might have spun the tires again there. Lane Allen with a great move on the outside. He's going to take over third spot. Rupert battles back. Can't do it.
No, he can't. And right there, Williford did a heads-up move as he was able to. He went to the outside there to block the 14 as he was going to have a run on him as well, trying to make sure that he didn't have any issues as well going into the corner. Man, they're really battling hard for that third position.
Battling hard for third place. They're also battling hard deeper in the pack. Look like maybe Randy McCanny, Casey Mullen in that group, but we'll stay with this right now. Lane Allen trying to clear Kevin Rupert. He's finally going to do it now. Richie Coy alongside.
Right behind them, Troy Torgerson got completely sideways coming out of the corner, lost 2 positions easily, able to maintain that car and get it routed back up as Richie Coy in the 19 goes really high in the middle of the corner.
And he's going to lose a spot to Chuck Sweeting, so move Chuck Sweeting up to 5th. Oh no, Rupert slides it into the corner. He's still holding it on. No, Donnie Staubitz is going to hit him. And... oh, goodness. Somebody else is going to hit him. Yep, Josh Mayhew runs into him. And that second group was not slowing down at all, Chris. And poor Kevin Rupert, nowhere to go. But he got loose on the entry of the turn. And you saw what happened there live. But a tough break for Kevin Rupert, who is up in the top 3 tonight.
Tough break indeed, Jared. And these guys, it's really hard to let off, especially when you don't see that caution flag flying yet, just because it looked like there might have been a chance where the one was able to save it and just not able to do so. And that's really what led to all of that. Guys were still trying to race for a position behind them because they thought that he may gather it back up.
Yeah, it looked like actually Josh Mayhew, there was a lot of smoke there. I don't think he saw that wreck happen, but my goodness, that's a tough break for Josh. Heavy damage to that machine. And Chris, we're going to get him re-racked again.
That we are, and it's going to be just that much more difficult to make that bottom lane go on the restart here as we have these old tires.
And we jump on board with Josh Mayhew. So you see the wreck, you see some smoke, and then all of a sudden the seas part. So that's what happened. There was a car on the inside of Josh Mayhew, and it was kind of blocking where Rupert was. Nowhere for the O2 to go. And tough break for those drivers. But now we're re-racking them, and 3 teammates are in the top 3. Doucette, Williford, and Lane Allen.
And Jared, this just goes to show how hard these guys are trying here to be able to make both of these different lines working. And it's just really difficult here to let off just because of the momentum that you can lose coming out of the corner can really make you lose 2 or 3 spots here in a hurry.
Exactly right. We got Jeff Chandler tuning in now and checking in on his driver, Randy McCanny. Randy is currently back in 15th position, and I do believe he is now a lap down thanks to that last wreck. He got a little bit of a piece of that wreck, but is in 15th position right now.
And Jared, we now have only 12 drivers on the lead lap here. This is making this race all that much more interesting now that there are fewer cars, but it also means it's going to be a battle for that lucky dog, as you've got now, what is it, 8, 9 drivers battling for the lucky dog?
Yeah, a lot of drivers a lap down. So let's go through it real quick here. Doucette electing to take the inside line because he knows that's what Sherwood Williford wants in this race. So that's really interesting move. We got Doucette, Williford, Allen, Sweeting, Coy, your top 5. Staubitz, Terrell, Speer, Nolan, Hanna, your top 10. Torgerson and Matt Geringer, your top your lead lap drivers, with Bill Benedict right now in 13th in the lucky dog spot, just ahead of Kenneth Schultz, Josh Mayu, and Randy McCanny, your top 15. And the pace car is off. What can Dean Doucette do from the inside line? Sherwood Williford gets a good start from the outside. Green flag's out.
Yeah, that inside lane's just been hard pressed to get up to speed here on the restart, but it looks like Dean Doucette's going to make it work as he's get a little bit wiggly off of the turn 2, still able to make it work there. Chuck Sweeney in that 75, really deep drive into the corner there. He's alongside Williford for second.
Wow, and Chuck Sweden with a power move on the outside. He figured out something. Now he's in the mix. Dean Doucette has now got Chuck Sweeting on the back, and the last thing Sherwood Williford wants is a driver that can't make the playoffs to steal a win. And now Chuck Sweeting is there. He's on the back bumper of Dean Doucette, and he's going to clear Sherwood Williford, maybe going into turn 1. Not quite. Oh, he's looking on the outside.
Sweeney
Dean Doucette.
Outside there.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. Not enough room, as Dean Doucette went way high there trying to make sure he could block that run from the 75. Able to do so. Now Williford up underneath Sweeting for second again.
Yeah, and what do you do for Dean Doucette in this position? I mean, you've got drivers all over you. You're trying to cover every inch, and Chuck Sweeting is there. What a race he's having on the outside line. And he is running up way high on the racetrack, finding some extra grip there. Lane Allen also getting back in this mix, and Donnie Staubitz up to the top 5.
Sweeney is there. He's now on the outside of your leader. He's going to have to let off coming out of the corner. They're basically touching.
They were touching. I think there was a little bump and run there, and Sweeting dives to the inside. Dean Doucette's going to have to power back around the outside. Sweeting didn't lead that lap. Doucette did. Sweeting on the inside. They both wash up the track a little bit. Where does Williford go off to?
Williford watching these two drivers as they're being rough with one another. Sweeney wants to be on that outside, not able to make the inside work just quite as cleanly, but it looks like he may lead a lap finally.
Did get a lap, led contact into turn 1. It wasn't enough to upset the cars, but my goodness, 26 laps to go. These guys know it's go time. It is time to get what you can get from this race. Don't look now. Bobby Terrell up into the top 5. He is coming as well. Sweeting finally clears Dean Doucette, and now 25 laps to go here at Wilkesboro.
What an incredible move by Sweeney from the outside to the inside to get the lead. He's going to take the point. Now Dean Doucette going to have to figure out how to get around the 75. This is going to be interesting as he's been up here for pretty much the better part of this race.
Doucette loose off of turn 2. Now Sherwood Williford is going to go to the inside. But can they chase back down Chuck Sweeting, who has been holding something back in this race? And he has finally got that number 75 Gator Racing machine up to the front with some very aggressive driving and some very exciting driving. And they're checking up behind Lane Allen and Dean Doucette. Now everybody has caught up to Dean Doucette. He's got some problems.
Yeah, the handling just went away on that number 29 as Williford's able to clear him now. Lane Allen looking to take the 3rd position away.
Well, the big difference here is Chuck Sweeting pitted on lap 154. All these other drivers around him, except for Bobby Terrell, pitted on lap 97. So there is a significant tire difference between Sweeting and the rest of this field. If we don't get another caution, I think this is over with, and Chuck Sweeting is going to get this thing done with those fresh tires. But if Bobby Terrell can get clear of this group, that might be another driver that we have to watch out for. Dean Doucette doing a good job holding them off. Lane Allen also in this group. Ralph Nolan, Donnie Staubitz, Torgerson, Hanna, your top 10, with Coy back there as well, holding off, battling with Rachel Hunt. That is not for position.
And Dean Doucette's really kind of holding all of these guys up at this point, Jared. You can see that Williford, as soon as he was able to clear Doucette, he's now got closer to Sweeney in that number 75 machine.
Oh, Lane Allen loose.
Oh, big wreck.
Lane Allen loose. Donnie Staubitz loose. How has nobody hit those guys? Holy cow. Kenneth Schultz is loose. Is there oil down out here? What is going on? Kenneth Schultz is stuck in the pit wall. And that's going to bring out the caution, unfortunately, as he slid. And as he slid, he just got stuck in the pit wall. And that is not good. And now, Chris, we get another go at this thing. Kenneth Schultz still trying to get unstuck. You see what happened there. Just three things happening. We had Donnie Staubitz get loose. We had Lane Allen get loose, and we had Kenneth Schultz get loose. And Schultz brings out the caution when he got stuck in the pit wall. So 18 laps to go, Chris. We'll get the green flag with about 15 laps to go. Sherwood Williford was chasing back down that number 75, but I can't believe nobody back here on the lead lap is taking a chance at tires. Actually, we do have one, Richie Coy, coming down.
Yeah, Richie Coy is noticing what these tires have been meaning and wants to get out here, maybe make a little bit of adjustment to that 19. With just a few drivers on the lead lap, he could still potentially stay in the top 10 or 11 here and be able to make this thing work and try to get that number 19 back up for a podium.
Well, this has definitely been a breathtaking event. 10 cautions tonight, but it really doesn't feel like there's been a lot of cautions. It's been very quick. Only a couple big incidents. We've had some fluke incidents. We had Kenneth Schultz just get stuck in the wall. We had Tony Solari with an engine failure. We had a driver kind of warp out and then spin at the same time. That brought out a caution, but otherwise, it's been a pretty clean race. We had a 70-lap green flag run. Was verging on some green flag pit stops before a caution came out with some contact there. And we had a couple of cautions for engine failures tonight as well. But right now, Sherwood Williford and Chuck Sweeting, they haven't won a race. Now, Chuck Sweeting, not eligible for the playoffs. He's not able to start enough races to be eligible, but he could definitely play spoiler, if you will, here tonight as he is leading the race. And these guys behind him, Williford is the only driver in the next 5 positions that hasn't won a race. You have to go all the way back to Lane Allen, Donnie Staubitz, and Matt Gehringer that haven't won yet this year in 8th, 9th, and 10th.
And you mentioned it, Williford here, the last year's winner at North Wilkesboro, now up to second, kind of been there for the better part of this race. And once again, he's got to figure out how to get around the leader on a restart where it seems like he's just not able to get off to a good start with a little bit of spinning of those tires on the 33.
In my opinion, which means absolutely nothing, sure, Williford's going to have to be aggressive. I think he was probably not being aggressive with his teammate. I mean, that would be nothing you would want to do there. You don't want to rough him up. You just ride, and then if things come together as the race goes on and you get an opportunity to make a move, you make a move. But you don't want to go in there hard. I think Sherwood Williford on Chuck Sweeting, he's going to have to make a move and make something happen because Sweeting's got 50-lap newer tires than Williford, and Williford's been involved in some incidents. Now, Bobby Terrell was involved in that incident, and he went ahead and took tires. Williford has not. He stayed there, elected for track position, and now you have to wonder if Williford, with 3 sets in the pits, he's only used 1 set tonight, if he's kind of thinking like, man, I really should have pitted earlier.
Yeah, at this point, we're going to have to watch everything that happens here. The green flag back out, the 75, great restart there. Williford didn't spin the tires this time, Jared, but did not get a good start compared to that 75.
Yeah, and you have to wonder, the other thing is, was Chuck Sweeting out ahead of the pace speed? Because that was a pretty big gap. We couldn't tell, and we're not going to make that call here on the broadcast. But sure, Williford chasing him back down, battling behind Bobby Terrell around Dean Doucette. Dean Doucette has dropped from the lead, and he is going to drop outside the top 5 at this point. No, he's going to drop the 4th, battling for 5th now.
You mentioned the 5 car. The 5 car's got fresh tires as well, trying to get his way back up in there, involved in an incident earlier, but not too much damage to that number 5. Could he get up there and spoil this race for those drivers looking for that win?
Sherwood Williford maybe a little bit tight off the corner, way up the track, but he is there, Chris, and we got 10 laps to go. He's got a big run there. Sweeting loose in the middle of the corner.
Loose in the middle of the corner, but because of that, Williford had to get out of the throttle, and when he did, Sweeting got back in and pulled back away. Williford now going to have to gather it back up and try to catch him again.
Thought we heard a wreck there, but we didn't, and these guys battling hard battling. Richie Coy trying to come through the pack. We were focused on the lead with 9 laps to go. Other drivers, Richie Coy is really making a move. He's up to 6th place, looking on the inside of Dean Doucette, and Dean Doucette throws a block down off turn number 2. We'll have to see if the 19 can get there. Sherwood Williford trying his hardest to get to Chuck Sweeting right now.
That he is just not able to get under him. It's the same issue that we have with him getting under Dean Doucette earlier, but he's ever so closely inching to that number 75.
Looking out the back of Chuck Sweeting, Sherwood Williford is there. 8 laps to go here at Wilkesboro. He was leading at Wilkesboro in the Truck Series race back in April. Him and Brody Hanna made some contact, and Brody Hanna went on to win that race. Sherwood Williford has this track figured out. It is his one of, if you want to call it, might be his bread and butter. But right now, looking out the back of Chuck Sweeting, gets a little bit loose, gets down on the curbing. He's going to lose a little time there. He's going to have to figure out something with 6 laps to go.
6 laps to go. Not a lot of time left. And you can see the 5 is closing in on this battle as well. These guys all doing everything they can, but now it looks like Sweeting's starting to pull away a little bit here, Jared.
He is starting to pull away back further. Richie Coy looking underneath Troy Torgerson. That's a battle for 4th place right now. 3rd place has changed hands. Bobby Terrell has taken over that spot. Dean Doucette in 6th. Ralph Nolan in 7th. Brody Hanna in 8th. Lane Allen battling with Jason Speer. That's a battle for 9th and 10th position. And Donnie Staubitz in 11th. 5 laps to go here at North Wilkesboro.
5 laps to go, Jared, and Chuck Sweeting has got this thing figured out, doing a completely different line than those around him and behind him. And they're going to have to do whatever they can to catch him, but that 75 looks like the car to beat here.
Chuck Sweeting, 4 laps to go. Make that 3 laps to go. Bobby Terrell has caught Sherwood Williford. That's a battle for 3rd place or 2nd place right now. Sherwood Williford doesn't want to lose any more spots. Richie Coy is also in this battle as well. Richie Coy trying to get back on the podium. I don't think any of these drivers have a chance to get the win right at this point in time. But with 2 laps to go, they're going to give it everything they got. Sweeting continued to maintain the gap at half a second.
That he does. Right now, the battle is for 2nd position as Williford under attack by Bobby Terrell, who's under attack by Richie Coy.
And they have pulled out a gap of about a second over 5th place Troy Torgerson. Back further, we have Jason Speer getting around Lane Allen. Brody Hanna getting around both of them. That's a battle for 8th place. White flag out for Chuck Sweeting as he heads into 1. Behind him, Richie Coy looking underneath Bobby Terrell.
Underneath Terrell, but all over the bumper of Williford as well. Coming through the final corner, though, it's going to be Chuck Sweeting going to win this race.
Off turn number 4, it's going to be Sweeting. Coy is going to get around Terrell for 3rd, and Williford holds on to 2nd place. Although it is not a consolation prize, I'm sure he wants, as he was 1 spot from getting a victory here tonight and maybe punching his playoff ticket. But Chuck Sweeting will grab the victory here at Wilkesboro, holding off Williford, Coy. Terrell will grab 4th, Torgerson 5th, Doucette, Nolan, Hanna, Speer, and Lane Allen, your top 10 tonight, Chris.
Finishing out your lead lap cars would be Staubitz and Geringer in 11th and 12th. Those guys just not able to get up there. Geringer, though, great finish for maintaining that car for the rest of the race. Got banged up early, still able to maintain it on the lead lap, even though finished 7 seconds behind our leader. Sweeney, though, the underdog, takes this one, Jared.
And you look back through the rest of this gap, and you got Randy McCanny in 14th. Jason Speer will end up 16th position here tonight. Looking back further, Dale Nearad with an engine failure, 25th. And I think that our results are a little bit off for some reason here. And that's because that is not the results of the race. That is the results of qualifying, which nobody cares about at this point, right? Let's look at those results correctly here. So there you go. Matt Geringer in 12th. You got Randy McCann getting 14th. Bernard Person recovering to 16th place. Not the night he was wanting. Rachel Hunt 19th tonight. Dale Nearad in 28th. That's your playoff drivers. Other drivers caught up in wrecks: TJ Bartel, Tony Solari, John Held, Gil Gawk, Adam Newton. But overall, Chris, a pretty solid night at Wilkesboro when this track had the record for cautions at 19 last year, only 10 this year.
Only 10, and they fell at opportune times for a lot of different drivers, especially for our eventual winner here. Though he didn't start that far back, Jared, he was only in 4th position after qualifying, able to maintain it. He's one of only 3 drivers, well, in the top 10 to actually start in the top 10.
Terrell and Torgerson, the other 2 of those drivers, but we are going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to hear from our top 3 finishers and take a look at what the point standings are looking like heading out of Wilkesboro and heading into Kentucky Speedway next week. All right, we are back live here at North Wilkesboro Speedway, where Chuck Sweeting grabs the victory over Sherwood Williford. Let's take a look at those results one more time. You see it there. Williford, a bridesmaid again this season. Richie Coy grabs third, and then you got some other changes there in the top 10. Lane Allen holds on to 10th. Brody Hanna makes 8th place. Great run for Jason Speer in 9th place, Chris.
Behind them, Lane Allen in the 10th position. Donnie Staubitz, Matt Geringer, and Bill Benedict round out your top lead lap drivers. But man, what an incredible race here tonight, Jared.
And let's take a look at the point standing. So not a whole lot of changes. Bernard Person actually does move up a couple of spots here, but despite his incidents earlier in the race, we look further back because the big thing is, where does Brody Hanna go? Brody Hanna still looking like he's outside the top 25 unofficially right now. Not official by any means yet, but that gap has closed down to 11 points, and the battle for the top 16 in points still there. 4 races to go, still 3 spots on offer, Chris. And let's start hearing from those drivers that finished this race in those positions, starting with Mr. Richie Coy. And we bring in Richie Coy, the driver of the 19. Richie, congratulations on a podium finish. You led a lot of the laps tonight, got caught up in a little bit of incident, but you recovered nicely and managed to grab a solid 3rd place finish.
Yeah, there was a point there in the race I thought we were going to be talking tonight, Jared. Then there was a point in the race where I thought that we weren't going to be talking. So to get back up to 3rd, I pitted with 19 to go. I figured I didn't have anything to lose. Let me put some new shoes on there and see how far up I can get. I think I was a lap or 2 away from actually maybe getting a win here, but we'll take 3rd.
Yeah, you and Chuck Sweeting, Bobby Terrell all pitted on that lap 154 caution, and that was the difference. Sherwood Williford out there on lap 97 tires, and he did a great job holding off, but you were up front early in this race, Rich. You were dominating. You got around, I'm drawing a blank here, Bernard Person, that's who you got around, and then you had a tight battle with Dean Doucette. Take us through that early battle as you guys were side by side, door to door for many laps.
Yeah, it was actually some really great racing. I was a little apprehensive on how the night was going to go, but we got some really good green flag laps, and one of the early restarts at the outside just took off, and I think I went from 4th to 2nd, and then Bernie took the inside on that one restart, and it gave me the opportunity on the outside. And then Dean, oh my God, he's one heck of a competitor, and he was definitely trying to keep me up on my toes, and it was some great racing.
So then we fast forward a little bit further in the race. Caution comes out, we get going again, and then Bernard Person locks up the brakes, locks up the rear brakes going into turn 1, tries to hold on to it, and when he tries to correct, he actually corrected into you, and you go spinning. And luckily, nobody really got into you, Richie, but did you think your night was over at that point?
Well, first, let's mention Mia. Mia is the little girl with cancer on Bernie's car. At least we got her a little spotlight on the show tonight, not the way that Bernie wanted to, but our prayers go out to her and all the kids with cancer. That's definitely foremost than sim racing. But yeah, I backed it into the fence. I got backed into the fence and I held it there, and I really didn't get hit. I think Bobby hit me in the door, and Bernie got me a little bit, but car didn't seem too bad. But it was a long way back up to the front, and I just put my head down, tightened my belts, and did what I could do.
So Richie, 4 races to go. You're already in the playoffs, and even if we get multiple winners, even now you're going to make the playoffs at this point in time, no matter what. We got Kentucky Speedway, Watkins Glen, Michigan, and Daytona coming up. Kentucky being the next one. Are you looking forward to the Bluegrass 1.5 or 1.5 miles? Apology there. Let
me start by saying, whew. My load off the shoulders. If I'm actually locked into the playoffs, that's a big help for the next couple of races. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Kentucky. It's a neat track. We'll see what we could do there. I will not be at Watkins Glen. I'm going to be on vacation that particular week, so being locked into the playoffs already before we get there is a huge help. But yeah, I can't wait.
Well, there you have it, Chris. Richie, congratulations on that 3rd place finish tonight. I'm going to turn the mic over to you and let you have the last word here tonight.
Oh, well, thank you guys as always in the booth. You guys put on a great show for the fans, hopefully everybody watching. Thanks to the league for doing everything they do, and the admins for doing a great job there as well. Thanks to all the competitors for having actually a really good race tonight. I thought tonight's race was really good. A lot of passing, a lot of action on the track. And thanks to my team, all the guys on the team, on Team Alliance, yourself and Tony and Pepto Joe and all the guys, Brody, my team owner, and that's all I got. We'll see everybody next time we're up here.
All right, Chris, that was Richie Coy grabbing that 2nd place finish or 3rd place finish tonight. I'm all over the place and doing a great job. And I believe you're down on pit road with our runner-up tonight, a bridesmaid again, Sherwood Williford.
That I am. Sherwood Williford led one lap here tonight, but it wasn't the one that he wanted to lead the most. Sherwood, take us through your race here tonight.
Hey, Chris, started in the back, started a little further back than we wanted to, and worked way to the front. And when they got into Bobby there, after that, for some reason, the engine started running hot. So I had to baby it for about 100 laps. I mean, I had to watch the oil temperature was turning red, and so. But the car was good enough to stay there. Of course, that may have been a blessing on the short track, so I was more easy with the throttle.
That it was. We could see that damage on the number 33 machine. But Sherwood, this track, you won it last year. You were pretty committed to the bottom groove here tonight. You were one of the only drivers that pretty much the entire race went as close as you possibly could to that curbing here. Was that your strategy for this race?
Yeah, the car is set up to run like that. It would rotate through the corner real good, and and I could use right much throttle coming out. So why not? I mean, if you stayed in the outside line, it was basically follow the leader or whoever was out there.
Interesting strategy, and one you're pretty much all on by yourself here tonight at North Wilkesboro. But Sherwood, who helps gets this number 33 team to and from the virtual lag? Anyone you'd like to thank, fans, friends, teammates, things like that?
I appreciate the league and you guys for hosting this stuff. The the Chevrolet guys, we will kind of help each other out a little bit, and just having fun and trying to win some races.
Sherwood, you're currently outside of the playoff bubble here, and not able and do not have a win yet here, but tonight ever so close to it. What's it going to take if going into Kentucky to solidify your spot in the playoffs?
I'm not really. If I make it in the playoff, fine. If I don't, fine. I just like to get a win or two and run up front some, and try to finish the year out on a good note.
Well, good job tonight here, and congrats on the P2 finish. Jared, Sherwood seems pretty relaxed for a guy that was battling for the lead and doing so with a damaged car for the better part of the race. As he said, the thing was overheating pretty much for the last 100 laps there.
Yeah, no surprise. We saw the damage on the front of that 33. Did a great job holding on to it. But I am down here in victory lane with a first-time winner, Mr. Chuck Sweeting. Congratulations on your first career victory in the Cup Series, but you had to earn it tonight.
Thanks, Jared. Yeah, that's a tough little racetrack, but man, what a good league this is. I've run in quite a few other leagues, and at this track, it's just caution after caution, and these guys know how to drive. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so take us through it. You qualified in fourth, but you actually pitted on the first caution, I believe, which was around 15 for the driver that had an early engine failure that kind of brought out that early caution, and you had to work your way through the pack, and we had that 75 lap green flag run there in the middle. Did you think maybe you made the wrong decisions by pitting early like that?
No, I had to pit. I was overheating. I had too much tape on it, and I just had to take care of it early. I didn't want to damage the motor. So, and then, yeah, I kind of was worried after that because it was hard to pass. It was just two lanes side by side, multiple lanes or multiple positions, and you just couldn't go anywhere, even if you had fresher tires. So, but it eventually worked out.
Yeah, we had a couple of big wrecks that kind of blocked the track, but you were able to get through each of those without any damage, and that was got to be a key for it. But let's talk about the end of that race. 45 laps to go. You elect to come into pit road. You're kind of one of the leading drivers that pitted. Bobby Terrell, Richie Coy also pitted with you, and they finished third and fourth. You pitted. You're back in about 12th position, and you had to come through the front. Had a couple cautions to benefit you, but did you think with that fresh tires that you were going to have a chance at that win at that point?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that the guys in front of me didn't pit, and when I come back out after it cycled through, I'd only lost 3 spots. I went from 5th to 8th, so I felt pretty good about it. Unless it was just going to be a bunch of cautions, and it wasn't. We had a lot of green flag runs, and those tires just got me to the front, and I was able to hang on.
So then we talk about 25 laps to go. Dean Doucette's leading, Sherwood Williford second. You restart in third position. And Dean Doucette didn't got a good restart, but you got a little bit better as you drove it down to turn one and actually stuck your nose on the outside and were able to pass Dean Doucette the hard way and were able to hold off Sherwood Williford for the victory. Take us through that final little stanza there as you were looking to claim your first victory.
Yeah, Dean was running hard. He didn't want to give up that spot, and you can't blame him. And we fought and fought, and it was just a tire advantage. And once I was able to get alongside of him, then I could run there for a little while until his tires heated up, and then I was able to clear him because I had better tires. But he was fast. I really wasn't the fastest car tonight. I was decent, but I was probably 5th, 6th, 7th place car, something like that. I just had those tires at the end. These guys are really good, so I'm going to have to step it up a little bit when we get to Kentucky next week.
Well, Chuck, I mean, unfortunately not eligible for the playoffs, so you're kind of playing the spoiler here. Sure, Williford, you prevented him from grabbing a victory that he might have needed to get in the playoffs. But, man, what a race you had tonight. This is only about your 5th career start here at Full Throttle Sim Racing, and some of the best racing that I've seen this season between you and Dean Doucette and others out there tonight. So I want to congratulate you on that. We're going to Kentucky Speedway next. How are you feeling about that, Chuck? Can you play spoiler again in that 75?
I hope so. I've only run one race there since they reconfigured it, so it's going to be interesting to see. But I like the track. It's usually a lot of fun, and it's a good track, at least for me. So we'll see what happens. See how well I can get with the setup and where I can qualify and how it works out. Try to get a little bit better than I was tonight. Even though I won tonight, I still wasn't the best car, so I need to be better.
Well, hey, win's a win is the way I always look at it, and got to commend you for that victory tonight and getting it done. But, Chuck, congratulations once again on the win. I'm going to turn the mic over to you and let you have the last word.
Yeah, thank you. Huge thanks to my teammate Gil Gawk. He got me into this league, and he works really hard with these setups and gives me a lot of feedback. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. And a huge thanks to my sister Joyce. She's my one and only fan out there watching on the broadcast. So hey to her.
Well, there you go. Another fan out there watching the broadcast. And congratulations again to Chuck Sweeting on his first career victory, Chris. What a race it was. I mean, it was some of the best racing I think I've seen all year on such a small track. We had side-by-side racing for the lead. We had some bumping and banging that didn't result in accidents. We had some big accidents, but at the end of the day, Chuck Sweeting is going to slide ahead and deny Sherwood Williford a playoff position.
That he does, and it's going to be all the more important to get these playoff points as we're getting that much closer to the start of the chase here, Jared. These guys, you could see the intensity tonight, and we still have, 4 or 5 races left before we actually get to the playoffs. It's only going to get more intense from here.
Yeah, 5 races remaining, 3 spots open. We're going to Kentucky Speedway next week. Rachel Hunt, the only driver that has won on the new configuration. Dean Doucette also has a victory on the old Kentucky, so we have to look for those drivers to make an impact. But that's going to do it for tonight on Full Throttle TV. Tomorrow night, we're going to have the Kickin' Asphalt Racing League. They're going to be at Darlington with the next-gen Cup cars. You don't want to miss that in their throwback race already this season as they're marching toward their own playoffs as well. Then on Wednesday night, we'll be back with Full Throttle Sim Racing with Blackwater Products Truck Series. Those guys are going to be at Nashville Speedway, the fairgrounds. So they are going to be at Phoenix. Apologies. They're going to be at Phoenix International Raceway for the first time this year because they did not race there earlier this year. So you don't want to miss that. And then we will be back on Saturday night with the SimRacingPoints.com Sports Car Series. Those guys are going to be live from the Hockenheim ring, and you don't want to miss all that action here on Full Throttle TV. But that's going to do it for tonight. For North Wilkesboro Speedway, for Full Throttle Sim Racing, for Darkmatter Designs, for Chris Speer, I'm Jared Carr. We will see you guys out on the track.